Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Hart, and today I'll be breaking down the two-game NBA slates we have today on DraftKings 100K to first between the Bucks and 76ers and the Clippers and the Lakers. I'll be going over the best value plays, best start throw plays, and the best stud plays on this slate, so hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell. Before I get into the breakdown, as always, follow me on Twitter, HartDFS. I put up all my DFS plays and thoughts up there, answer any questions. Let's do a quick look back at my lineup from yesterday. I did two lineups. This one cashed, made back a little bit of money, but I talked about how everyone's going to be on those Spurs and Rocket players. I'm pretty surprised how they weren't a lot more high owned. As you can see, Jalen Green was only 19.4%. Kevin Porter Jr. was only 7.6%. Trey Jones only 18.3%. But as I said, if you guys built off of those, low owned core pieces from my video and implemented some studs, you guys were off to a great start and probably cashed. So the video breakdown from yesterday, I touched on a lot of different people pretty quickly, but a lot of them did very, very well. And as I said, you guys could put those core players in, and then you can just fill in a few different studs and then kind of go from there. And, you should have enough ceiling to be able to cash. That's what happened. Trey Jones was off to a very slow start, picked it up in the last half. The game unfortunately blew out. Jalen Green started off hot, didn't finish the game too well. But at 5.4K, almost getting 30 is pretty solid. Kevin Durant, solid game. They just look terrible. It just looks like it's a one-person team. So very low owned. Almost 50 is decent. Terry Taylor, we got the news that he was going to be starter, so I threw him in there. Surprised more people didn't get to him. He started off terrible. I think he had negative fantasy points in the first quarter, and came back a little bit. Nurkic was just terrible. He got benched. SGA, fantastic, as I mentioned, really liked him. Keldon Johnson, really liked him, and Kevin Porter Jr. So made a little bit of my money. The plays were good, just kind of whiffed on, the pay-ups like Nurkic, KD, and Jalen Green. Now for today's breakdown, going to be, a pretty quick one. We got Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Lakers, and the Clippers. Philadelphia and Milwaukee. We got Giannis at the top, 10-7. Looks like the best spin up on the slate. I mean, we know we're getting from Giannis, as we saw when Chris Middleton, who is still not playing. Giannis is going to do pretty much everything for them. Has that ability. He's pretty much should easily get a double-double in this matchup. Should pretty much be able to easily score. Does have some assist upside as well. Can get you blocks and steals. So at 10-7, it is pretty expensive on a two-game slate, but he looks fantastic. Do expect a bounce back here for Joel Embiid. He's coming off a pretty bad stretch, obviously to end the playoffs, and then the start of that Celtics game just doesn't look good right now. Do expect a little bit of a bounce back. I do think people will kind of get scared of that game. I know DraftKings hasn't updated it yet, but he just doesn't look good. But I don't mind doing a little bit of a bounce back here on Joel Embiid, going up against a very dusty Brook Lopez. James Harden, 9K. I talked about how, a lot of people are not going to be playing on that first slate because they think of old James Harden, but he came out. He did get fouled on a couple threes, so that got him easy points, but he looks very, very good. Do expect a bounce back year for Harden, so 9K for him is a pretty solid price. Drew Holiday, 7-9. Don't think he will get a lot of ownership. A lot of people think that's kind of overpriced for Drew Holiday, but as we know, he's going to get a massive amount of minutes. He's going to have all the shot attempts in the world. It's just if he's hitting the shot, he was an okay shooter last season, especially in the playoffs. Maybe the minutes got to him, but he has all the usage alongside Giannis. So really, really like him at 7-9. Has the assist upside, rebounds. He's a good defender, so he's going to get you multiple steals a game. It really just comes down if he's hitting the shot. If he is, he's really going to be worth it at 7-9. As I said, Middleton is still out. Tobias Harris, once again, just way too cheap. If you guys saw my slate breakdown for the NBA opening day, talked about how Tobias Harris was a fantastic play. He had 20 fantasy points in the first half, and then didn't get a single fantasy point until 3 minutes left in the game when it was a blowout. So super frustrating, kept me from winning big money, but really like going back to him here at 5-5. I think that's way too cheap for Tobias Harris, who has a ton of upside, especially going against the smaller court. I don't think they'll put him on Giannis. I think they'll put PJ Tucker, but as we know with PJ Tucker, he's garbage. Not sure why he's considered a great defender when people just consistently drop 40 bombs on his head. So really like Tobias Harris there as a very solid play at 5.5. Don't mind getting to Bobby Portis. It'll be interesting to see how the Bucks come out with their starting lineup. Maybe they'll throw Portis in. If not, he'll probably come off the bench, see, at least 25 minutes in this matchup against a bigger, 76ers team. So I do have a good amount of interest in, Bobby at 5'4". He's a great three-point shooter, a hustle guy, will get you rebounds, a couple blocks, maybe a steal. So 5'4" looks like a great play as well. Tyrese Maxey, once again, way too cheap, 5,200. Price did not come up. He had a slow start to the first game of the season against the Celtics. Kind of picked it up in that second half to kind of keep them in the game, but then they did kind of blow out. Do expect them to get him more involved. I mean, he's fantastic. He's so quick. He's a great young player, so 5,200 for him is way, way, way too cheap. He has, 40-plus potential in this matchup against the Bucks. Even with Drew Holiday guarding him, still really like Tyrese Maxey. Jordan Nwora, it'll be interesting to see if he plays. Last season he really didn't even play at all, and even with Chris Middleton out, they still decided not to play him. So we'll have to keep an eye on the lineup news for the Bucks. But I mean, if they're starting Bobby Portis, I do think they're going to have to get a bigger wing off the bench, and I do think Nwora would be that guy. Maybe 15 minutes, but we'll have to see. Dusty Grayson Allen, hate him. Just was terrible after the Bulls series in the playoffs. 4,600. I mean, looks like a decent play. He'll probably be around 25 minutes, maybe a little bit more, maybe slightly less. 4,600. Looks like an okay play. George Hill is dusty, 4,300. Don't think you have to force that. Do think they're going to run Drew Holiday out there a ton. Pat Connaughton's still out. DeAnthony Melton, as we saw, I think he got about, I think he got like about 15-ish minutes. Let me see real fast. Let's see here. Melton got 21 minutes. Didn't shoot a ton. Not going to have a ton of usage, but he can get hot. So if you want to take a dart throw there, 3,800 for a guy who'll see 15 plus minutes into the 20s to kind of help relief. James Harden, Tyrese Maxey. I don't mind it. He's going to be the main guard off the bench for them. So you can definitely take a shot on him at 3,800 and hope he hits a couple threes, gets a couple assists. Easily within his range. Dusty West Matthews. I'm assuming he'll probably see, around 20 minutes. Not a high usage guy. Don't think you have to do that. That really does it. As you can see, the 76ers kind of went to the guys I mentioned, Niang, House Jr., Harrell, and then Melton. Didn't really play Thibault. Looks like he's out of the rotation as of right now. So don't really think you need to take a shot under any guys under Melton. And then the Clippers and the Lakers game. Going to be absolutely god-awful. I mean, the Lakers might be the worst team I've ever seen in my life. You got Russ, AD, LeBron, and then 12 G League players. Pat Bev is a G League player. That whole team are G League players. They're brutal to watch. I don't know who in the right mind would ever put this team together with LeBron and AD, who are both very injury prone, and Russell, who's half a player at times. Like, it's so confusing how bad this team is and how poorly built this team was, and how Rob Pelinka's like, we're gonna hold off on a Russell trade. We don't want Buddy Hield and Miles Turner right now. We're gonna run out your accountant Matt Reeves and Keanu Reeves and Matt Ryan or whatever their names are. It's just it's mind blowing. But going into the breakdown, I think it's a 5-point spread right now, favored to the Clippers, obviously, but I think this game has huge blowout potential. I mean, especially getting into the benches. Let's say one of the Lakers starting fives gets in foul trouble again. It's just all over for the Lakers. Their bench can't keep up. LeBron and AD will have to play the whole game, and they're not going to do that because they're injury prone and they're old. LeBron is. So I just don't really like the matchup here. As we can see, LeBron and AD played about 36 minutes. Russ played about 31. Pat Bev, 25. He was in foul trouble. Do expect him to play a little bit more. Lonnie's probably going to have to see 30 again. But, I mean, those three are just absolute matchup nightmares when it comes to trying to guard those Clipper players. Matt Ryan solid 18, Juan's all 14, Reeves 16, Nunn 23. It just looks very, very gross for this Lakers side. So I mean, I like LeBron in this matchup, like AD. They're both, pretty cheap, compared to where they'll be the rest of the season. But once again, I just don't know. Maybe they come out and they go up on 20-10 run. They look solid. They keep themselves in it for 3 quarters. But I just don't see how they're going to keep this game close, especially when the benches come in. But LeBron 9-3 looks solid, as we saw. Should play around 35 minutes. Obviously has, that double-double, triple-double upside. So 9-3 looks pretty decent for him. Paul George looks great, 8-9. He said he was the second option to Kawhi Leonard, but they can both go off. I mean, we know that. So 8,900 looks pretty great for him. Once again, just, kind of afraid of the blowout risk. AD looks very solid, 8,600. Had a little bit of a slower game after he started off that first quarter. I think he had like 20 fantasy points. Ended up with like 47. So he kind of slowed down after that, but looks great here against the Clippers and Zubac. Love Kawhi Leonard. I do think people are going to be scared that maybe he has a minutes limits, but they said he should be, full go, good to go. 8,400 is probably the cheapest you'll get Kawhi Leonard all year. Once again, I'm just afraid that this game will blow out. So I'm leaning towards stacking the Milwaukee-Philadelphia game and then just maybe getting a piece or two from this Clippers and Lakers game. But really, really like Kawhi Leonard here in the spot against the Lakers. Russ, 7K looks okay. They're going to have to play him pretty much the whole game. I mean, he looked solid in that first game. He didn't shoot the ball a ton. Obviously not a great shooter, but we'll get you those rebounds, steals, hustle plays. But yeah, 7K looks okay. Reggie Jackson looks decent, 6,200. I don't think we can expect, 35 plus minutes anymore from him, especially with John Wall coming off the bench. So I do think he'll be floating around 32 minutes maybe. He's a good shooter, good scorer, can do a little bit of everything. 6,200 looks solid. Zubac looks okay, 5,300. I don't trust it. It was pretty limited when it came to minutes last season, kind of floated into the 25-ish range, maybe sometimes 20, maybe sometimes 30. So going against AD, don't really like that matchup for him. Maybe some foul trouble. But rather, pay down for a guy like Norman Powell coming off the bench. Do think he'll get a little bit of a bench run if this game blows out. So the guy who's going to see probably 25, close to 30 minutes if he's hitting his shots. He does have a good amount of upside. Scoring first guard. So sometimes, he can be scoring dependent. But he can easily get you there if he's hitting his shots and getting a couple of rebounds as well. So 5K for him looks very, very solid. Don't mind taking a shot on John Wall, 4,900. He looked great in the preseason coming off the bench. I would expect at least 20 minutes out of John Wall to, help this team out. Veteran point guard, good scorer, going to be great at getting assists, some rebounds, and steals. So 4,900, I don't mind paying down for him and Powell. Terrence Mann, excuse me. Don't think you get to do it, with the addition of John Wall. I mean, he'll get minutes, but I'd say like maybe 15. Don't expect him to be heavily involved. Morris Sr. looks okay, 4,500. He'll probably float around that 25-minute range. They just have a ton of players that they can play in this team now with the addition of John Wall and, Powell's back, Kawhi's back. So it's just hard to get to a guy like Mann and Morris Sr. They're just not in it for me. Same thing with Covington. Another guy they'll play probably, 15 to 25 minutes, depending on Zubac in foul trouble. Once again, another guy who's not high usage, but can definitely, pay off that salary if he's hitting a couple threes. But Luke Kennard, another guy they can throw out there for, 15 to 25 minutes. I don't know why. I have a mix. Excuse me. Pat Bev, 4,100. Looks solid. Just because of his price tag. He's not a high usage guy, but they're going to need him. A little bit of a revenge game for him as well. Foul prone, so 4,100, even though it's pretty cheap for Pat Bev. He has that foul prone trait, so I just don't know if we have to get there. Lonnie Walker, 4,100, as we saw, played about 30 minutes. Once again, not a high usage guy, but if this game blows out, he'll get run. Amir Coffey, don't think he had to do it. Don't mind taking another shot on Kendrick Nunn, because even if this game blows out, he'll still get run. If it's close, he'll get run as well. So 3,700 for him looks pretty solid. Batum, don't think he had to do it. He's just gross, absolute dust. Austin Reeves, dust. Damian Jones didn't even play. Wenyen Gabriel, absolute dust. JTA, trash. Matt Ryan, trash. I mean, if you're playing any of these guys, you deserve to score less than 10 fantasy points and not cash at all. I mean, they're just god awful plays. Even if this game blows out, they're just terrible. I mean, you can take that dart throw. Maybe Austin Reeves plays 25 minutes if the game blows out, but it's just so gross getting into those guys. The guy I do like taking a dart throw on is Brandon Boston Jr. Obviously, there's a ton of people in front of him on this lineup, but Ty Lue did talk about how he's gonna have a big year, so maybe we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here, but you can definitely take a dart throw there at 3,000, especially if you think this game blows out. But I think I'd rather just stick to a guy like Kawhi, Paul George, Powell or Wall, and then kind of go with the Philadelphia and Milwaukee game. So if you guys like the video, hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.